How do you stay objective when you believe that this is the future? You believe that
Mm.
decentralized finance is the future, but at the same time, you don't want to impart that objectivity. You don't want to impart that subjectivity rather into the writing. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually, at the Defiant, there's an editorial line where it's clear that we're covering DeFi and we are bullish DeFi. So that's kind of something about the Defiant. Like we're not kind of our goal isn't to be like outside observers of DeFi, but rather being inside the community, like testing things, using it, and really kind of believing that that DeFi will continue growing. But like from that position of believing in the space that we are covering, we cover it objectively in the sense that we're not favoring any project, any network, any one chain or any solution or any one person. It's like, okay, like we are bullish this space, but within that space we are objective. Like we're not taking like any sides or like having any like favoritism.
Gotcha. And so I have to ask the basic question because it's such a new space. What is DeFi for those uninitiated?
Sure. So DeFi stands for decentralized finance, and it's an ecosystem of financial applications that's being built on top of public and open networks like Ethereum. So these financial applications don't have centralized entities that control money, but rather allow users to have control of their money and interact directly with smart contracts being run on. Smart contracts are like basically computer programs. So you're interacting with code that's being run on decentralized networks instead of with like third parties and institutions. So the what's exciting about this is that for the first time, it's enabling a global financial system. So right now, the traditional financial system depends is closed. Like each country has its own kind of closed financial system. DeFi is open and it's global, and it gives access to anyone who wants to participate. So it's permissionless. Like you don't have to ask anyone for permission to start using these applications.
And is NFTs part of DeFi or are those two separate entities?
Um, I view NFTs as part of DeFi because I think to me like DeFi is like the value layer of the internet. It's basically kind of, you have like digital information. DeFi is digital money. It's like the way how like value can interact with the internet. And the NFTs is also part of this kind of like property layer. It's how you can give digital files value. How you can kind of actually own like digital files that you couldn't before. So I think it kind of depends how you use NFTs, whether like they are a part of DeFi. So there are, for example, NFT funds, and that is like more like a financial instrument. There are applications that are letting you put NFTs as collateral and borrow against your NFTs. So that's clearly DeFi. So it's like, yeah, a lot of like mind-blowing stuff. Like you can fractionalize NFTs and trade it into like regular tokens, like fungible tokens. So if you look at like NFTs in a bubble, like, okay, like a tokenized piece of art, say, then it's like hard to see it like how is this part of like finance. But because like this system is so open and interconnected, you can kind of piece these things together, and NFTs like start to become part of this like new financial system. And I think that's kind of where the future is going, where there isn't like such a clear division between, applications that we use in the internet and the financial system, but it's like the financial system just becomes part of the internet. It's like one more application that we use.
As someone who's been covering this space so long, is it more difficult to cover the DeFi and cryptocurrency when everyone else is talking about it and there's a huge magnifying glass on it, or when it's a time of peace in the DeFi cryptocurrency community when less people are mainstream getting adopted? Which is more difficult for you?
I think it's more difficult when there's just like more attention and more people talking about it, just because like the amount of news that's flooding the space. And so it's just like a harder job to like curate everything and make sure that we are picking the right things to cover and write about. It's just and just like keeping up with everything that's happening and the market. I mean, yeah, there's just like more news to cover, so it gets a bit more challenging.